Hi, my name is Trudie, I'm a member of the IQ Bar team and I'm also one of the vloggers. This week's vlog is one in a series of vlogs about phonics, so I'll be continuing to look at phase 2, but in this entry I'll be looking at set 4. In this vlog I'll cover a brief overview of what phonics means, its importance, and also be looking at the fourth set in particular. I've already mentioned in my other vlogs about phase 1, and I've looked at phase 2, set 1, 2 and 3. So in this video I'll just be looking at set 4. So if you haven't seen my other vlogs for 1, 2 and 3, take a look. As with phonics, it's really important to teach systematically, so it's really good to be familiar with the general order when you're teaching it. So what does phonics actually mean? It's a method of teaching to read by correlating sounds with symbols in alphabetical writing. So words are made up of small units of sound that we call phonemes. Phonics teaches children to listen and identify these phonemes that make up the word, which then help them to read and to spell. For example, in the word mat, the phonemes are a, t, and the graphemes are m, a, t, which we relate to those sounds. This is known as the GPCs, the grapheme phoneme correspondences. There's a particular order that children learn these, which is why we have to teach phonics in sets, and we're looking at set 4. Why is phonics so important? Over the last few years in particular, there's been a massive shift in the UK about how we teach reading, particularly in schools. This is having a positive impact on helping many children to learn to read and to spell. And phonics is recommended as the first strategy that children should be taught in helping them to learn to read. This should then in turn run alongside other methods, such as guided reading and shared reading, which all attribute to developing reading skills. So why is phonics so tricky? Sometimes it's easy in some languages because each phoneme has just one grapheme. But in the English language, due to so many invasions in our history, it's resulted in loads of new words and sounds being brought by invaders. So we have around 44 phonemes and 120 graphemes, which are ways of writing the phonemes. With only 26 letters in the alphabet, this means we have some graphemes that are made up with more than one letter, which are called digraphs. On occasions, we also have trigraphs, which are made up of 3 letters. To make it even more confusing, sometimes the graphemes can represent more than one phoneme. For example, in the word office and in the word cat, the grapheme C is used, but said differently. This is one of the reasons why it's so important that phonics is taught systematically. Let's have a look at what's in this phase. The sounds are taught in a particular order. We start with set 1, S, A, T, P. And for those of you with an educational background, you'll know this as Phonics phase 2, set 1. In set 2, we look at the graphemes L, M, N and D. And in set 3, we go over the graphemes G, O, C and K. This week we move to phase 2, set 4. It's in phase 2 that we begin to learn the sounds that the letters make, which we call phonemes. Remember, there are 44 sounds in all, but we focus on the 19 most common single letter sounds first, before later going on to those sounds which are made of 2 letters. By the end of phase 2, children should be able to Clarity is really important when pronouncing your sounds. If you don't pronounce your sounds correctly, children might find it difficult to blend them together. When introducing the GPCs, and remember this means the grapheme phoneme correspondences, people should be using sounds, pictures, actions, and lots of practice of forming the letters, whether it be in the air, on the palm of a hand, on the back of a toy. All of these should come together first before putting pen to paper. So let's have a look at the sounds that we'll find, the phonemes, in set 4. We have the digraphs, which just means 2 letters that make one sound. K, spelt with the letters C and K. You pronounce this just the same as you would the single letters C and K, like this. K. So like I mentioned before, your mouth needs to be open, your tongue flat, and this sound should come from the back of your mouth and push forward. K. K. Next we have the grapheme E, and the phoneme, the sound that goes with this letter, is eh. When pronouncing this sound, to say it correctly, you almost form a sort of smile. Eh. You should feel the sides of your mouth go up. Your mouth needs to be open as you do it, and you'll feel that your top lip goes up much higher and does more work than your bottom. Eh. Next we have the grapheme U, and that makes the sound ah. To pronounce this correctly, you'll need your mouth open, ah, your tongue down flat, and your mouth fairly wide. This is another sound that you'll feel coming from the back of your throat, but it's a lot more gentle than some of the other ones we've looked at. Gentle push. Ah. The last grapheme we have in this set is the grapheme ah, and that makes the phoneme the sound This tends to be one of the kids' favourites because it's kind of like you're growling. So, to pronounce this correctly, you'll need to make sure that you push down your teeth together. Sometimes your facial expressions can help too. So when I sort of get this growly look, it really helps me to pronounce it. Often you hear it pronounced like this. R. Listen to the difference. This is how you shouldn't say it. R. And this is how you should say it. When you're pronouncing this sound, your tongue should lift up slightly. So let's have a look at the sounds we've looked at today, as well as some other ones we've already looked at when saying them in words. So the first word is the word rock, which has got the graphemes R, O, C, K, and is pronounced like this. R, O, K. Rock. Let's look at the word sock. It's got the graphemes S, O, C, K, and we'll use these phonemes. S, O, K. As I've mentioned before, please do not be overwhelmed by the terminology used. The more you practice, the better you'll be with it and the more you'll get used to it, as will the children. What is important is your pronunciation. It's really important that you pronounce the sounds correctly. So if you're not sure, please ask. You won't be judged or scrutinised for asking. Really hope this has helped. If you'd like any more information, contact your team leader or message in the group chat. Look out for my next vlog, which will be looking at set 5. Bye guys.